Let's do a review in the topics that we cover after the midterm. So the first question is, which of the following is a factor of the polynomial 2x squared plus 9x minus 56? And you have 4 choices here. Now, this polynomial is a trinomial. And we see that the coefficient of x squared is not 1. So how to go to factor this? We factor this as 2 binomials. And the first term are the factors of 2x squared, which are 2x to x. So 2x to x is 4x squared, but we recall ourselves, we simplify later. Now the job is to find two numbers. What are these two numbers? These two numbers are factors of the product A times C. Okay, so this product is 2 times negative 56 is negative. So the product is negative 112. So these two numbers are the factors of 112. So the product is negative, so the only choice is for numbers to be with different signs, because multiplying two different signs give us a negative product. Now the largest will be positive, because we know if we have different sign numbers, we subtract and we keep the sign of the largest to get the coefficient of x, which is the sum. Okay, now these two numbers multiplied together will give us 112, and when we subtract, we get positive 9. Now, what are the factors of 112? We already have two factors, 2 and 56. But 2 and 56 doesn't work because 56 minus 2 is 54, is not 9. Now, let me factor 56. Let me write 8 times 7. And now I will check. So I have 2 times 8 times 7, but I need two numbers. I am checking. 8 times 2 is 16, and 16 minus 7 is 9. If you check, 7 times 2 is 14, and 14 minus 8 is 6, is not 9. In other words, I'm writing 112 as 2 times 8, 16, and 7. 16 times 7 is 112, and 16 minus 7 is 9. So these are the numbers that I'm looking for. And the largest will be here. Now let me check. After you find those two numbers, check the choices. So 2x minus 7, yes, you have. Is choice C. This is the factor that it is in the choices. Now, if this is not in the choice, you have to continue to simplify 2x plus 16. Suppose that this is not the answer, okay? What I am going to do, let me bring this down. So I have 2x plus 16. And I know I have to simplify. I can simplify here by 2. And this will give me x plus 8. Okay, but suppose that this was not the answer. Again, so I want to find one of the factors of this trinomial. Okay, I have to factor as the product of two binomials. The first term is easy. They are the factors of the x squared term. But the job is to find two numbers, and these two numbers, their product is the product of AC. Recall the form ax squared plus bx plus c. So the product of two numbers is a times c, and a times c is 112. Break 112 until you find two numbers which multiply gives you 112, and when they subtract, because they have different sign, you get 9. And we got those numbers 16 and 7. We put 16 with a positive sign because the left is a positive number. And after you place the numbers, you check the choices. And fortunately, the right trinomial, the right binomial is your choice. So 2x minus 7 is in the choice. Suppose that this is not in the choice, then you go and simplify the other, okay? Because this is not correct. 2 and 16, they have a common factor. So divide by the common factor and you find the other. But this is done. Let me go over again. So I want to factor 2x squared plus 9x minus 56. I will factor this as two binomials. The product is negative. 2 times negative 56 is negative 112. So I write 2x, 2x. I will simplify later. The product is negative. I need one positive, one negative. Positive is the largest because if you subtract, you keep the sign of the largest. So you break 112 and 16 times 7. And 16 will be placed to the largest. And 7 here. Check. You have one choice. This is one of the choices. So this is your answer. Suppose that this is not in the choice, then you have to go and continue to find the other factor. And now you have x plus 8 and 2x minus 7. Okay? Done. Now, the second problem. Find all solutions to the equation. X squared minus 2x equal to 24. This is a trinomial. You have four choices here. So since the trinomial contains the three terms, so it is the form x squared plus bx plus c, I know how to factor this. I will factor this as two binomials. The first term is easy. X times x is x squared. Now I need two numbers. So, but I cannot do this right now because the three terms are not in the same side. So the first thing that I have to do, I have to remove 24 to the other side. So let me subtract 24 to both sides. Or you just move to the other side by changing the sign. So I have x squared minus 2x minus 24. And now I'm going to factor. Not here. Because here I didn't have the three terms to the same sign, to the same side. So the first term is easy. X times x will give you back x squared. Now I need two numbers. The product is negative 24. So this is the case when the coefficient is 1. So the product is negative 24. A negative product means different signs. 1 minus, 1 plus. The largest will be negative. Why? Because the sum is negative. The coefficient of x is negative. Different sign numbers, we subtract, keep the sign of the largest to get negative 2 when you subtract. So what are the factors of 24 that when they multiply give us 24 and when they subtract give us negative 2? They are 6 and 4. Because 6 times 4 is 24, 6 minus 4 is 2, and 6 will be negative. Okay, check. Negative 6 times 4 is negative 24, negative 6 and positive 4 is negative 2. So if you place 6 with a positive sign, will give you positive answer. So done. Now remember that we have 0, because now this is an equation. Okay? Very easy. We have the answers. So how we solve an equation like this? We leave each factor equal to 0. So x minus 6 is equal to 0, or x plus 4 is equal to 0. And the first will be 0 if x is positive 6, because positive 6 minus 6 is 0. And here x will be negative 4, because negative 4 and positive 4 is 0. So we have already the answers. The opposite of negative 6 is positive 6 and negative 4. So it is B. Check. The opposite, positive 6. The opposite, negative 4. Now, or you can continue. Leave each factor equal to 0. X minus 6 is equal to 0. Or x plus 4 is equal to 0. Okay? Now, add 6 to both sides. X is equal to 6. And here you subtract 4 to both sides. And x is negative 4. But you don't need this. As soon as you factor, and you have this form, x squared plus bx plus c, that means you have xx, is very easy. The opposite is your choice, because this is the property of 0. To multiply two things to get 0, one can be 0 or the other can be 0. The first binomial, the first factor is 0 if x is positive 6, the opposite. And the second factor is 0 if x is the opposite, negative 4. Because negative 4 plus 4 is 0. Positive 6 and negative 6 is 0. So you know this already. However, you can continue the work, leave the factor, each factor equal to 0, and solve those two small equations. Problem 3. We want to solve this equation, and as we see on the left, we can factor. So I take off those two choices, A and B. Why? Because when I see the left side of the equation, this is factorable. I have a common factor here. So what is the common factor? 4 and 12, both divisible by 4. And b is present at both, the smallest exponent. So 4b is the common factor. And what is left here is left b, and here is left 3. Check. 4b times b is 4b squared. 4b times 3 is 12b. Now, here we have two roots, two solutions. So we have two factors, 4b times b plus 3. So it is the property of 0. Maybe the first is 0 or the second is 0. So maybe 4b is 0. And 4b is 0 only when b is 0. So let me write it here. So we have two factors, 4b is 0 or b plus 3 is 0. Is the property of 0. 0 times b plus 3 is 0. 4b times 0 is 0. Okay? Now, 4b equals 0. 4 is not 0, so b can be 0. 0 times 4 is 0. However, you can divide by 4 both sides, and you know that b is 0, because 0 divided by any number other than 0 is 0. So b is 0. C or D? Let's see. Here is the opposite. So b plus 3 is 0 when? If b is the opposite, negative 3. So it is the choice C. However, you can solve. Subtract. So b is negative 3. So as soon as you factor, and you have two factors, okay, there is not only one solution. Because we have two factors, each factor can be equal to 0, so you know there are two solutions. One is 0, and the other is the opposite. So directly here, you have the answer. It is the property of 0, which means 0 times b plus 3 is 0, or 4b times 0 is 0, which means that if the first factor is 0, b is 0. If the second factor is 0, b can be the opposite of the other number to give us A0. Okay, so this is 0, 4 times 0, or negative 3 plus 3. So b is 0 and b is negative 3. Directly you can see here, 0, negative 3, the opposite. Now number 4, factor completely. So we have here we have a binomial, okay, two terms. So we are happy to see that these two terms are separated each other by a negative sign, okay? In other words, the first term is positive and the second term is negative. We are very happy to see a minus between these two things. Now, the first thing that we have to do is to factor the common factor. What is the common factor here? The common factor is 8 and 18, both can be divisible by 2. X is not present at both, y is present at both, y is the common factor, the smallest exponent. Open parenthesis, what is left? 8 divided by 2 is 4, x squared, y is outside. And here what is left? 18 divided by 2 is 9. From 3y, 1 is outside, so there are left 2y. Check. 2y times 4x squared gives you back 8x squared y, and 2y times negative 9y squared gives us back 18y to the third. And now, look at the choices. A is not. So B, C, or D. Now, we have a difference of the squares here. So this is very important. For this reason I mentioned this in the beginning. I was happy to see this negative between. So if you have a difference of the square, you can factor the difference of the square like this, one with minus and one with plus. Okay, so you have 3 factors. So which of the choices have 3 factors? Only C. Directly you can find the answer without working. Okay, again, after you factor, if you want to factor a binomial, this is 2 terms. In between you have a minus. Remember, after you factor the common factor, which is 2y, okay, we check, is this a difference of the square? 4 is perfect square numbers, is a square number, x squared is a square variable, square number, square variable, yes, this is the difference of the squares. So a difference of the squares is factor as the product of 2 binomials, one with minus, one with plus. So you have 3 factors, the common factor, the GCF, and the factors of the binomial. The only choice is C. This is very easy question. When you see 3 factors, this is your answer. Now, if you want to continue, how we factor this? We find what is the base of 4? 2. Because 2 squared is 4. The base of x squared is x. So this is the base of 9 is 3. 3y. 2x minus 3y. 2x plus 3y. Okay? Done. Again, this is very easy question. This is, you want to factor a binomial, a minus between. Okay, after you factor the GCF, check if it is the difference of the squares. You have 3 factors, and the 3 factors are only in the choice C. Which of the following is a factor of the polynomial? So this polynomial contains 4 terms. So how we factor a 4-term polynomial? The first thing, we are going to check for the greatest common factor. So what is the greatest common factor? 12, 12, 3, 3, they are divisible by 3. So first I have to factor out the common factor. What else I have in common? Nothing else. A is not present at all, B is not present at all, Y and X also. So 3, open parenthesis. 12 divided by 3, so I have 4AB minus 12 divided by 3, 4AY plus XB minus XY. Okay, now I will factor. Group. Okay, so don't forget to write the common factor, GCF. So how to factor each group? What have they have in common? They have in common 4A. And what is left? BY. What they have in common? Just X. And BY. So this was the factor of the first group. This is the factor of the second group. Now let's factor each group. What the groups have in common? They have this binomial. Let me continue. So let me write B minus Y. And now, open parenthesis, what is left? 4A plus X. 4A plus X. So we have three factors. We have GCF, and we have B minus Y, 4 plus X. So let's check the solution for C. This is the factor that they are looking for. So in other words, all the time that you see a factoring, always factor GCF. GCF is 3 here. So if you factor GCF, then you go and factor the polynomial. After we factor GCF, we have a 4-term polynomials. Now group it, factor each group. Okay, write the common factor, which is a binomial, open parenthesis, and write what is left from this group and check what are the solutions. Okay. So from the polynomial, we have those two factors. This is GCF. One of the factors is your choice. So when you see the choices, you can eliminate A. Why? Because A has a common factor. So A is not an answer. Also D, eliminate D, because D has a common factor. So this cannot be answered. When the answer is something that do not have a common factor, for example, B and C, they do not have a common factor. So our choices were only B and C. Keep in mind, the final answer will be something that do not have any more common factors. A is common factor because 3 is a common factor, D is a common factor, so they are not your choices. Number 6. Find all solutions to the equation 7x squared equal to 112. This is very easy. So we have here some solutions. So this C and D are not our solution. I will explain you later why. 7x squared equal to 112. Okay, now, why these are not the solutions? Because as we see, our equation contains only x squared and the number. Okay, so cannot be 0. X cannot be 0 because if x is 0, so the left side becomes 0, and to be a true statement, the right side can be 0. So this is not our choice. And this is not only one root. Only one root is when we have like this, for example. Let's recall the formula. Okay, and this is a three-term polynomial, a trinomial. So with three terms, the three terms are present, and this is a square of a binomial. This is a plus b square. So these two are not our case, but it doesn't matter. So you have only a and b, but it doesn't matter. Don't think so much when you are in the test. So which are the choices? This is very easy to solve. How we solve this? We use the square root property. So we divide both numbers by 7. So we have x squared is equal to 16. And now if x squared is 16, then x is equal to plus or minus the square root of 16, which are both roots of 16. And x is plus or minus 4. So we have two solutions. Okay? Very easy problem. Number 7. What is the value of the x-coordinate of the solution to the system of equations? So we have a system of equations, two equations. We want to find the value of the x-coordinate. So we want x, and this is telling us to eliminate y. Because we need x. So we are going to eliminate y. But how to eliminate y? So in this problem you have two choices, to solve for y and then replace y. I will do both. But first I will do by elimination. So I want x. I have to eliminate y. And I can eliminate y if the coefficient of y are opposite. So what I have here? I have negative 1 and positive 3. They are not opposite. They are opposite in sign, which is good, but 1 must be 3. And I have negative 3, positive 3. Let me show here. So I want to destroy negative 1y and positive 3y. How I can do this? If I multiply this by 3, what I get? I get negative 3y, positive 3y. Together they are negative 3 plus 3 is 0, y, so this is become 0. Y is gone. So this is my plan. To make this one 3 by multiplying by 3 the first equation. So this will give me an equivalent system. I have 3 times 3, 9x, minus 3y equal to 3 times 8, 24. And I will rewrite the second. And now I'm going to add. When I add, y is gone. So I have 9x and negative 6x, which is 3x, equal 24 minus 9 is 15. Dividing by 3 both sides, I get that x is 5. Done. So x is 5 is choice D. Now, what I did here, when I read the system, this is very easy. Find x, eliminate y. I can make this negative 3 and positive 3. Very easy. Multiply the first equation by 3 and you are done. Now, or you can choose, let me write the system again. So you can choose to solve for y, the first equation. So let me solve for y. 3x minus y is equal 8. So subtract 3x to both sides to move 3x to the other side. So I have negative y equal negative 3x, or 8 minus 3x, it doesn't matter. Okay, now I have to multiply by negative 1 everywhere in order to make y positive. So I have negative 8 positive 3x, or 3x minus 8. Okay, so I have to substitute this for y here. So what I have, bring the second equation, negative 6x plus 3y equal negative 9. Substitute y with 3x minus 8. And continue. I have negative 6x, 3 times 3 is 9x, 3 times negative 8 is negative 24. And now I have 3x minus 24 equal negative 9. Add 24 to both sides to leave x alone. So I have 3x equal to 15. 24 and negative 9, 15. Divide by 3 is x is 5. Now, elimination method works faster. Let me go again to elimination method. 3x minus y equal 8. Negative 6x plus 3y equal negative 9. I want to find x, I have to eliminate y. So make this negative 3y and you are okay. Negative 3y and positive 3y will give you 0. How to make this negative 3y? Multiplying by 3 the first equation. That's it. Multiply and you, okay, multiply now, 9x. 3 times negative 1 is negative 3y. 3 times 8, 24. Rewrite the second. Add, and directly you have 3x equal to 15, and you now divide by 3 and you have x equal 5. So elimination method works faster sometimes. Okay, let's see example 8. So what is the value of the y coordinate? Now we want y, so we have to eliminate x. Okay, so we have to eliminate x. Now let's go to the system. We want to eliminate x. Okay, but 3x and 2x, so we have to, if you want choose to solve for x, so it's a little bit more work. Now I want to eliminate x. What I have 3x, I have negative 2x. So if I add, I want to add both equations. If I add, I never get 0. So what I have to do to get 0? So if I multiply, as you see, this is positive. Positive and negative sign are very good because I can make both 6. And I have positive 6, negative 6. So if I multiply the first by 2 and the second by 3, I will have what I want. I will have positive 6x and negative 6x. And this will give me 0. So this is my plan. I will multiply the first by 2 and the second equation by 3. Remember, the equation completely. And now I will get a new system. 2 times 3 is 6x. 2 times 2 is 4y. And 2 times 24 is 48. And 3 times negative 2 is negative 6x. 3 times 4 is 12. Y. 3 times 16 is 48. And now I am adding x is gone. So I have what here? 16y. And this is 96. Okay, so divide by 16 both sides. And what is the answer? It's positive number, okay? So it is D. Y is 6. That's it. Done. So this was the review. Thank you very much. If you have questions, just feel free to call me. Thank you again.